Well, greetings again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I want to show another thing that has been wrong for a considerable length of time, and it is about palatal separation. And I went to New York one time to hear Dr. Donald Timms, who wrote the book on palatal separation. And I listened to him, and I got up later on in the day and after his speech and went up and talked to him, and I said, how late can you separate the palate on a person? And he said, well, about 17 or 18. And there was a whole bunch of people behind me wanting to talk to him, and I just said thank you and left, because I had separated the palate on people when they were in their 30s and a few people in their 40s. And simply because of placing the palatal separation pressure on the front part of the mouth as well as on the back part of the mouth. Now, I've got this in several videos earlier in detail, but I'm going to just run through it real quick here and show it to you again, just to show the difference in here. Now this is a guy that I had tried to separate the palate, and he was in college, and he was in his 20s, but early 20s, and I was trying to separate his palate, and it just would not go apart, and he was complaining about the pressure. And he came in one Saturday morning, and I was kind of irritated that I couldn't get this apart, and I wanted to, really knew he needed it apart, and so I made this spring like this, which is the wrong way to put the pressure in the front part of the mouth. This spring, it's closed up here. Well, when you hook it up, it'd be both of these arms would go down like this, and it would start separating in this direction. And if you left it long enough, the teeth would go out on the side. And he came in about 10 o'clock that morning with his girlfriend, and so I got him, and let me go ahead and we'll show this. I took him and put a spring like that, put some legs on it so it would push against the two teeth right here, and also straighten these teeth up at the same time. And I let him go. And that afternoon, Saturday afternoon, about 3:30 or something, or 4, he came back in with his girlfriend, and they said he was winter shopping down in Fort Worth, and they looked in the window and said, his girlfriend said, your teeth are apart. And sure enough, he went over and looked like that, and his teeth were like this. Now, when the sutures separate, there's no nerve endings in there. And when it separated, he did not have any pressure in here. So I was pushing on this from the back side and then putting the pressure in the front part of the mouth. We were able to separate him with no problem at all. And so I, from then on, started using it both ways. But this is not the way to do it. You put a steel here and here, and then you run a spring in between. But now that we use TADs, we recommend putting TADs, or little screws with openings in them, and you run a spring between the two, and have it under a lot of pressure, and that puts pressure on the bone structure as well. And I think you could separate people even further with that method, as well as in the palate up here. Now I've got a whole swarm of pictures on this guy I'm going to go real fast, but if you want to really see it, go back. There's several videos on this. Now, we were separating him here. We were going to extract some teeth on him anyway, but watch how this spring right here straightens these teeth out as well, pushes them apart. But you wouldn't want to leave that on there very long. The teeth would just go out like this. So you wouldn't want to use that type of spring. And so it's lucky he came in and did, and we took that off and put a regular spring on there. And now we pushed it apart, and then I put spring here to bring it back together, and then that would leave space here for me to put the lateral teeth into place. And so that's what we did. I'm going to just run through this quick. If you want to look up, there's several of this pictures of this in there. We separated and lined those teeth up. And so from that point on, and this was 1973 when we did this, so I had not heard of anybody separating the palate past 17 or 18 until that time. And we lectured on this for years and got people doing it, some after that. So I wanted to say this is one of the wrongs that we have corrected. And we took this guy and brought him out like that and closed this up. And he had a nice set of teeth after that. So you can go back and look at those deals. Now, that works. And this is adults that we're moving. He was not. He was in his early 20s. But I can do this on people up in their 30s, and I've had a few people that were 40 years old. And I think if we put the tads here and push against the bone rather than having pushing on the teeth, then getting it to go to the bone, it would be better just to come across this way with an arch wire with a spring in this area right there. I think it would work better. So this is what I suggest doing now. If you want to separate the palate on an older person, and I do not know the age that they get so grown into the suture that you can't actually separate it. And this type of separation, this palatal separation, is better than like if we use a Big Daddy arch wire and you separate the palate, it goes like this. In palatal separation, it goes this way. So you gain space in here also, putting palatal separation. If you need room for your laterals to come in, that helps moving it out from the palate side. So we still do a lot of palatal separation on people, and we try opening it up. If we cannot open it up, it is possible to go out and just keep putting pressure on it, and the palate doesn't separate, but the bone stretches in there, and I've got cases showing that, where the bone widens out. And I took a man one time, he weighed 312 pounds. That was back when a 300-pounder was not seen very often. And we didn't separate it. I could not separate his palate, but we kept putting pressure on it, and we widened the palate out on an adult, and on many other adults we did after that. Thank you now, and I'm going to close up and say goodbye to the next video, and I hope you'll join our deal and subscribe to our channel in YouTube. Thank you very much, and I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll see you again.